Hello, Intro to Philosophy, Professor Fairweather, just with a little look into the week ahead. Tomorrow, Tuesday, brings an end to this hopefully lovely long Labor Day break that we've had. Um, Back to class. So we're going to pick up and pretty quickly get to the third definition of piety that Euthyphro offers Socrates, and we'll see how Socrates refutes, undermines, what I sometimes just call Socratizes, that third definition, i.e. shows that there's some kind of fatal flaw in it. It's going to be different from the fatal flaws in the other ones, and the argument that shows it is going to be different. And indeed, this third definition really gets into some pretty substantive philosophical terrain. Maybe I'll just put out there now the distinction between a subjective property and an objective property. And to this day, and I think every day in between, the Euthyphro, at least going back to the Euthyphro book, and well, today, philosophers have been talking about this difference between subjective and objective features of the world, roughly mind-dependent and mind-independent features of the world, i.e. those things that exist but only because we think they do. There's a few of those kinds of things. And things that would exist whether or not we thought they exist. I mean, I guess like the sun, solar systems, rivers, mountains, glaciers, those things seem to be the kinds of things that would exist even if we never thought about them, even if we never showed up on this planet. On the other hand, things like pain would be a prime example of the kind of thing that could only exist if we think or feel it exists. Some people say things like beauty, value or virtue, goodness, stuff like that, might be a creature of the mind more than a creature of the world, in the sense that, as the expression goes, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. That really gives us a sense of a mind-dependent feature of things. The third definition really gets into this question of whether or not piety is mind-dependent or mind-independent, in the way that we can ask about lots of features of the world, whether they are one or the other. But I guess one unique thing here is that the mind, really minds, in question here are divine minds, not just human minds, but so it is. And so we'll take a look at that and importantly introduce us to that distinction, subjective-objective distinction in general. It's just a very important philosophical distinction. And quickly see how Socrates refutes that third definition from Euthyphro of piety. And that'll be pretty much it for the Euthyphro. Might just kind of have some closing words. And we'll try to at least get started on the Apology. We should be getting started on the Apology. Really the main, I guess, philosophical substance that you want to be paying attention to there, somewhat similar to the Euthyphro, is the old charges and Socrates' defense against the old charges, and the new charges and Socrates' defense against the new charges. Other than that, really his definition of wisdom and a little argument about death are the main things that we'll be looking at in the Apology. So you can get started on the Apology, a little longer than the Euthyphro, kind of interesting, the actual trial of Socrates, and that should be about it. The only other thing I think, looks like people are doing pretty good on the discussion board, but jump in there and do remember to give your reply with a couple of links, so that is then useful to the person you replied to, because you've got some nice little research links for them that they can click on. Alrighty, so just a look at the week ahead. No real assignments due. I should maybe say that really quick. Soon enough, we'll be having a Plato quiz, but the ongoing assignment for y'all is to read and understand and be ready to discuss the reading for that week or that particular session, material assigned for that session. And it's a lot harder than you might think. I'm almost tempted to say, bet you can't do it on your own, at least. Really getting all of the fully understanding a philosophical text is no small matter, and a large reason for the class meetings is to get the full understanding of the text in a way that, and it's not a criticism, I think understanding a reading assignment in, let's say, history, typically is a little easier, I think. I mean, there's maybe a lot of names and information and stuff like that, but just understanding what a given page or paragraph is saying in, for example, history reading assignment, I believe would be a little, usually less challenging. So just to put that out there, a general ongoing assignment, if there's nothing specifically given to you, is to see if you can actually understand the reading we're covering in that day. Like I say, I'm tempted to say, bet you can't, without some lecture help from me, but I hope you can, actually. And if you think about it, read about it a couple times, think about it enough, I bet you can. At least most or good amount of it, and lecture will add some. But then we get into the space of discussion once we have a good, solid grounding and understanding what is often some complex text. You'll see Descartes is pretty challenging as well. Okay, and so that allows us to kind of work out our reading muscles and our analysis muscles by being able to understand material that is complex and challenging. Okay, so I'll stop on that, but I'll see you guys on Tuesday, and we'll finish up Euthyphro, start Apology, and go ahead and start reading. Take it easy.